Right now is Mike Leone. Why did your mom leave a note on the door saying that everyone was moving out to the country?
When I worked at the Buffalo News as a sports clerk, my nickname was Mama. People didn't know this song. They'd be wondering why the heck people are running around calling, a college guy Mama.
See? Mama Leone left a note on the door. She said Sonny moved out to the country.
Weekdays, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern on FNTSY Radio and on your popular podcast providers.
With ThermoSpa's unique built-in thermofiltration system, you simply fill it with a garden hose and your water stays crystal clear with very little maintenance. Right now, they're offering 0% APR financing with approved credit and a $1,250 savings coupon. Call ThermoSpas today at 800-603-6422 for your free DVD videos and brochure. That's 800-603-6422. Call 800-603-6422 today to take advantage of 0% APR financing.
Join the family at Modell Sporting Goods. Visit your nearest Modell's and sign up for our MVP Rewards program to receive insider deals all year round. Earn points on every purchase when you use your MVP card to earn Modell's cash back. It's our way of thanking you for being a loyal customer. Upon signing up, receive 10% off your purchase and 15% off your next purchase. It's that simple. Plus, new MVPs this month are eligible to win a $500 Modell's gift card. When you gotta play more and pay less, you gotta go to Moe's.
You're listening to the Fantasy Sports Radio Network.
Fantasy Best Friends Forever.
Yo, this is the Fantasy Best Friends Forever here on the Fantasy Sports Radio Network. Alongside Frankie Stampfl, I'm Gregg Sussman. It's not back yet.
You all right, Gregg? You don't sound too hot, man.
I'm trying, man.
How did this happen?
I don't know. It was fine this morning.
That's true.
Like I talked to you all morning. It was fine.
It's probably because you were freaking out about Mike Fultonevich.
Oh boy, this isn't good. He's not in the game anymore.
What inning is it?
5 1/3.
Ooh, the little quality start teaser, Gregg Sussman.
So annoying. He struck a guy out and allowed a double.
It's all right. It could have been worse. It could have been Max Scherzer, How often do we say that? Mike Fultonevich could have been worse. He could have been Max Scherzer.
He struck out Bryce Harper. Matt Adams doubled. And then they took Fultonevich out.
How many pitches?
95.
Yeah, it makes sense. You can never be too safe.
Needed that quality start, Frank.
He could have been out after 68 pitches. Shout out to Gabe Kapler.
What's going on, man?
Not much, Greggy. Was feeling a lot better this morning when I woke up. And then, obviously, this Max Scherzer start happened. He wasn't terrible per se in terms of the earned runs. But I was much more excited when I woke up today, or rather last night. It was the first time that I felt really, really excited throughout this baseball season. It finally hit me with everything that happened last night and during the day yesterday that the baseball season is here. I told you yesterday, I've been watching, but it hasn't really felt like baseball season yet. Yesterday we had the Didi Gregorius monster game for the Yankees to win that game, and then we had Ohtani's home run. We had the Milwaukee Brewers go back-to-back and walk off there. And even Clayton Kershaw, the mere human that he is, tried to go up against a god, Gregg. A pitching god, Zach Godley. And he lost, and he was outdueled. So yesterday was really the first time that it kind of all sank in, and I really felt it.
Jakey, how you doing?
I'm doing well.
All right, that's good. Any opinions on the baseball season to you?
Not really.
All right, great.
What are you looking for? Good. I should just go ahead and put out my head-to-head lineup in Tout Wars like I always do, because every single week, whoever's going off in bananas that week is the person I'm facing. I'm facing Didi Gregorius. I didn't even have to look. I was just I woke up this morning I guarantee you the person I'm facing has Didi Gregorius. And he does.
I'm sorry, Jake.
Happened every time last year, too. Every time somebody had a 3-home-run game or went bananas that week or went 8 innings and had 16 strikeouts, I was facing him.
Do you ever realize that no matter what, a player does well, they're facing Jake?
Yeah.
Have you ever noticed that?
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
You're probably facing Scooter Jeanette's, 4 home run,
100%.
3 home run game last year.
I actually was that week.
There you go.
Yeah.
Were you versing Christian Villanueva last night,
No
too?
question.
No.
Oh,
that I was not.
Well, not every player, Jake.
I avoided that one, fortunately.
By the way, speaking of Fultonevich, so going into today, my head-to-head, my opponent and I were tied with a whip of 1.13, and he has like the next decimal, so technically he's winning right now, which is fine. It's a long week. So I had Mike Fultonevich go today, pitched pretty well. You know what his whip was?
1.13?
Yes.
I'm looking at it now. He had 4 hits and 2 walks in 5 1/3 innings, so there you go.
Isn't that crazy?
It's
weird.
Pretty sick, man.
It's weird.
It's crazy how some of these things work out, like so fine statistically.
Yeah.
Especially, we play head-to-head categories leagues in fantasy basketball. I don't really play head-to-head categories for baseball, but you'll see it sometimes like off by like 100th or 1,000th of a percentage point in like the free throw category or the field goal percentage category. It's pretty crazy.
It is. It's wild. I'm also looking, Jake, my 12-team league, daily transactions, both pickups and start and sit-ems. We get 4 pickups per week, and this is an extra long week, so you got to save your pickups. I've only used 2. I've used 2 of my 4 pickups this week. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 other teams. Oh my God, my opponent used all 4 already. That's awesome. I used all 4. One guy, one team, has not picked up a player yet, and that bothers me.
Why? Maybe his team is so stacked he doesn't need to pick up players.
I think he's losing like 12-2 this week.
Ooh, well, then quite the opposite. Probably has already checked out.
Like, here's what bothers me. I know, competitive league, whatever. He's got Jeff Samardzija, right? He's got Aaron Hicks, both on the DL. We have 2 DL spots sitting on his bench. He's wasting roster spots. Why? Because he's a terrible player. Why? He made the least amount of pickups, under 10 last year in my league. And he won the league in the regular season. Won it.
He won the league?
The regular season.
Wow. Come on, Greggy. You got to step it up, man.
Yeah.
Use those pickups. Use your DL spots. Jake, I wanted to ask you, what did you think about Didi Gregorius coming out for the curtain call yesterday? Because I thought it was great.
I'm sure you did, because
Loved
the
it.
Yankees.
Loved it.
And you're a two-faced Yankee lover like everybody else who likes the Yankees.
Well, you know what? I think 8 RBIs warrants getting a curtain call, Jake Seeley. Not a grand slam in your first at-bat by Colin Moran.
He got a curtain call for both of them, did he not?
I didn't agree with the first one.
That's what I said. Did I not tweet that out?
I saw your tweet, and I agreed. I said, Greg, this is a great tweet, because I agree with you. Come on, I don't
was the first
care.
one a grand slam?
It wasn't. No, it wasn't.
Both 3 home runs.
So you're
Both
fine.
3
You don't
home
need
runs.
a curtain call.
He didn't need it. I agree with that. But 8 RBIs.
But if he grand slam, he would. Yeah.
8 RBIs probably warrants a curtain call.
Because that happens as frequently as a grand slam, which deserves curtain call.
I think a grand slam happens more frequently than a player having 8 RBIs in one game.
That's a lot. You have it happen. The fans demanded it.
I will say one thing that I loved about last night. I talked about Shohei Ohtani hitting his first home run. When he came back to the dugout, the silent treatment that he had was great. He's looking around, and it must have been extra weird for him because he's just come to America.
He's like, why are they talking to me?
That might not be a custom in Japan. I really don't know, to be honest, but especially for him looking around, the guy probably doesn't have friends as it is. I mean, he's just getting acclimated.
That's not very nice. I'm sure he's very friendly.
I mean, he's still getting to know people. Like, how long
he probably
has he
doesn't have
known
friends.
These guys? Yeah, I mean, they're not his best friends forever. You know, he's not like me and you kind of thing. But
sure.
He might have walked into the dugout feeling kind of lonely, and I've never seen this before.
Frank doesn't like foreigners.
What? What are you talking about?
It's a joke. Get over it.
Ask Gregg Sussman, man. I frequent our Asian American cuisine restaurant very often around here. Anyway. He goes up to I don't know who it was, but he like pats him on the back. I've never seen someone getting the silent treatment, like actively go up to someone and be like, hug me, because he didn't know what else to do.
And then they bombarded him.
Yeah, it was hilarious.
It was awesome.
It was great.
It was
I like the silent treatment. That's one of the cooler things in baseball.
Jake, in a league where you have daily moves, you could be not moves, but like you set your lineup daily. Would you pick up hitter Shohei Ohtani?
No. Not at all.
Well, tell that to your best friend, Frank.
How about in a 15-team mixed league?
No. I'm not going to do it.
I think you can make the case for it there.
Frank texted me last night, we got to pick up Ohtani. And I'm like, no. And I walked into work this morning.
Come on,
and he's
Greg,
like, we got to pick up Ohtani.
It's
I'm
fun,
like, why?
Greg, come on.
No, there's no point.
15-team mixed league. Have him on your bench. Put him in the lineup when he's DHing. I mean, come on, Greg. 9 plate appearances. He has a 43% hard hit rate. Come on. Can't make this stuff up.
He played 2 games, man. How pumped are you for that? How pumped, Jamie, you're going to go over 4 today?
He hit a home run before Aaron Judge.
He definitely did.
There you go.
It's a lock. Drop him then.
Is Aaron Judge owned?
He is.
Yeah. So Shohei Ohtani should be owned.
Aaron Judge bats second and plays every day. Shohei Ohtani bats 8th and plays 3 times a week.
Yeah, but pretty awesome lineup. Pretty awesome player.
Yes.
Whatever. Greg's not in on the hype.
Who's the other guy you want to be?
Are you even a hype, bro?
No.
I thought you were.
Wow.
You've turned your back on me.
I cannot believe they did not like Fultonevich.
Hype. What are the hype bros doing for WrestleMania this year?
Both hype bros are in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal.
I could have figured that out.
Which will take place on the pre-show.
Ooh, good.
Nobody cares.
Along with the Women's Battle Royal.
I'll probably miss beginning of the pre-show.
Also, why?
I'm going to the Yankee game on Sunday, Greg.
Oh, what a huge day.
Oh, Greg, it's up. Do you want to, without looking, do you want to try and guess what the White Sox lineup is?
Without looking, do I want to guess what the White Sox lineup is?
Yeah, don't repeat the question so you give yourself time to look.
What if I say no?
Hey, I was just saying, you guys couldn't do it when you and Nando were getting all excited about the White Sox.
I like the White Sox. All right, sure, we can try. Who bats lead off for the White Sox?
I already have it open, so I already know. You should know. It's been the same player all of their games.
Yeah, I remember I questioned it. Why isn't Tim Anderson doing it? You guys all laughed at me.
Yeah, because he has 3% walk rate.
Yeah, so he's not.
And a 280 OBP.
Let me go a different way, right? I know Jose Abreu's batting 3rd. Matt Davidson's batting 4th.
Okay.
That's correct.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Take that. Who else is on this team? Yohan Moncada's in there somewhere. Yohan Moncada is batting 1st.
Yes.
All right.
He's been there every game.
I wasn't sure if he was first or second. I wasn't sure if he was first or second. All right. So you got Yohan Moncada batting 1st. Who else is on this? Who else? Tim Anderson's batting 6th.
8th.
That's where he had been. Oh wait, you had 3 hits and a home run and 2 stolen bases. Get to the back.
So he's
Get
going
to the back of the lineup.
They're facing already.
Wellington Castillo's batting 5th.
Nope.
No.
6th.
6th.
Jeez. I'm struggling. Is Yolmer Sanchez batting 7th?
Yes.
Yeah. All right, Greg. I wouldn't have got that one.
All right. Is Adam Engel batting 9th?
Yes.
Look at this guy.
All right, that's pretty good.
All right.
Oh, Avisail Garcia's batting 2nd.
Yes.
All right. So I'm literally just missing their left fielder, who's batting 5th.
Yeah.
And their left fielder is no longer Melky Cabrera.
No.
Yeah. Who is the White Sox left fielder?
If I give you a hint,
Yeah.
it would give it away.
That's great. That's pretty good. I got the whole lineup.
Jake Seeley really likes him.
Jake Seeley really likes him. I don't know.
Wow, I guess you weren't listening when we had Jake Seeley on the show the other day.
I listened to Jake every day. You're talking about Matt Davidson.
Nicky Delmonico. Come on.
Yeah, you know what?
Greggy.
I'm happy I didn't get that one.
We got to put a bid in on him. I told you this. Yes,
you did.
You definitely do it over Ohtani.
Jake, in a 15-team mixed league, Nicky Delmonico should probably be owned, right? If he's going to bat
drafted.
5th in the White Sox lineup.
Should have been drafted. He's 15, 60, 60 floor with probably like a 20, 70, 70 ceiling. Maybe even 75, 75.
All right. So how much money would you put on him in a $100 fab budget? 0 bids are allowed.
$6 or $7. He's not going to. People still aren't on him for some reason.
So we could probably get him for less than $6 or $7, but we shouldn't chance it.
Depending on what the rest of your league needs.
All right, I'm on it because we could use another outfielder.
If I need an outfielder, I'm always going to be aggressive on outfielders because people we talk about it all the time. You have to start 5. People just still don't realize how quickly it dries up.
Yeah, and this is a daily transaction league, like we mentioned. So, on days like today where Carlos Gomez is not playing and he's currently our utility player, we have Derek Fisher.
If he goes 0 for 4,
outfielder.
you might be able to get him for $3 or $4. If he goes like 4 for 5 today, then you're gonna have to jump up.
All right, so we should just root for Nick Delmonico to go like 0 for 12 the rest of the week.
Pull a Stanton today.
There you go. Platinum sombrero. Is that bad?
Greg, did you check out over there?
Is Platinum Sombrero? Yeah, Platinum Sombrero is terrible.
He's like, oh, my voice hurts. I'm just not going to talk today. All right. Well, we are the Fantasy Best Friends Forever. I am your host, Frank Stampfl, alongside Jake Seeley. Today we'll be talking about some young shortstops. We've already brought up Tim Anderson, who is batting 8th for the Chicago White Sox. Greg, what do you think about Tim Anderson's hot start to the season?
We talked about Tim Anderson a little bit, and Frank, you and I kind of disagreed on Anderson. I was like, he's really good, and you didn't see really many redeeming qualities to him. So I like him.
What are your reasons? You just like him?
Because he was a highly rated prospect, right? Came up last year, obviously struggled very mightily early on, and striking out way too much. And I'm sure he continues to strike out, but he's just 24 years old. The strikeout percentage is still going to be around 30%. But we know the power is real, right? He hit 17 home runs last year, certainly get up to 20. And it's not everywhere you can find a 20-20 guy. I think it's what Tim Anderson can be. Now, will the average stay at 375? No, obviously not. The value also sits at 375. I don't think it's realistic. But was he as bad as he was in the first half last year? No.
Yeah, and what I like about what he did last year is in September, he stole 9 bases. So, he put an emphasis on that. There were quotes in the season that before the season started that said he wants to steal, 25, 30 bases this year. I mean, we see a lot of quotes from players that say, "Oh, I want to do this. I have these lofty expectations." But this is a guy who stole 49 bases in the minor leagues. Some guys come up and they're not able to translate that speed over, but 49 stolen bases. I think he's fast enough to steal 20 to 25 bases.
Listen, when I drafted Tim Anderson last year at the end of my draft, I didn't care about the power. I just thought this guy would hit first or second in the lineup and just run wild. And it just did not happen. And it literally did not happen until September, as you mentioned, where he stole 9 bases. Going into September, he had 6 steals all year. That's basically 1 steal a month. He can run. Last year he had 15. This year, through 4 games, he has 3 stolen bases.
He had 2 yesterday. He had a monster game yesterday. 3 for 4, home run, 2 stolen bases.
A huge game yesterday.
Game.
You're looking at a shortstop that can be 20-20. That's what I like about Tim Anderson, Frank.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people got him at a discount, too, because throughout draft season, going up to the season in spring training, he was banged up. He was dealing with an injury. Honestly, we didn't know that he was going to be ready for opening day. I actually have him in the Great Fantasy Baseball Invitational. I had to leave him in my lineup because I didn't have a backup shortstop, and I was kind of hesitant about it. I was like, I don't even know if this guy's going to play. And then he goes out there and, he hits 2 home runs the first game of the season and does what he did yesterday, too, with another multi-hit game. Very early, small sample size, but he has a 45% hard hit rate. But he's hitting the ball in the air a lot. I don't want him to fall in love with hitting fly balls. I think he can be a 20-20 hitter. He's got to cut down on those strikeouts. This is a guy who was a 3.01 hitter in the minor leagues. I don't think he'll ever get to that because I think he's going to be like around a 25-26% strikeout guy. But I think he can get the batting average up to 270. If he hits 270 with 20
awesome.
and 20 in the White Sox lineup, he's probably going to score 80 runs as well.
Totally agree. We just need him, Jake, to not be batting 7th or 8th anymore. I want him much higher in the lineup.
Yeah. Look, we already talked about it in the last show, and I was also looking up the fact of Matt Grace and if he was Mark Grace's son. So I missed half of that.
Great.
I just don't see a path to him moving up in the lineup. That's the only problem, Greg.
I don't know.
Maybe.
Why can't he bat ahead of Nicky Delmonico?
Nick Delmonico is a pretty good player, too.
Why can't he hit?
You can hit him 5, but what's the point of doing that?
I agree with that.
Unless you hit him 3 and you hit Jose Abreu 4.
Bat him leadoff. Bat him leadoff.
You can't.
You can.
His OBP is terrible.
With the way he's getting on base right now, you can.
Nah.
He's hitting 375. He's not going to be able to keep that up.
Obviously not. Let's take a break. It's not just Tim Anderson we're talking about from the shortstop position. There's a lot of young shortstops getting it done. Perhaps none more than the guy we were talking about earlier, Didi Gregorius. Some of us knew it. Others, like Florio, did not. We'll get into Didi next.
With ThermoSpa's unique built-in thermal filtration system, you simply fill it with a garden hose and your water stays crystal clear with very little maintenance. Right now, they're offering 0% APR financing with approved credit and a $1,250 savings coupon. Call ThermoSpas today at 800-603-6422 for your free DVD videos and brochure. That's 800-603-6422. Call 800-603-6422 today to take advantage of 0% APR financing.
Hey, I'm Jeff. Look, I'm just a skeleton. I don't have an ACL anymore, but I'd still like to know what it means when one of my fantasy players sprains his. That's why I use the Inside Injuries app. It was created by real doctors, so you're getting information directly from people who have seen, touched, and operated on actual ACLs. Take it from me, a skeleton. If you aren't using it, you might as well just be guessing. Download the free app today. and unlock the secrets of injury analysis.
Game time decisions.
You're not a social media guy.
I don't have to. And I'll tell you about social media, too. People enjoy.
Not very social?
No, it's not. You meet most unsocial people, actually. Some people are pretty damn mean, but I'll tell you one thing. You've seen all these companies getting hacked and stuff. I'm glad I'm not on Facebook. And every single day, they got your information. We have enough cameras, and now every single company's getting hacked. I'm glad I still deal with paper money, Gabe. I'll tweet once in a while.
Weekdays, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific, only on the Fantasy Sports Radio Network.
Why pay high rake when you can play daily fantasy baseball and pay half the rake on Fantasy Draft? Featuring half the rake GPP and head-to-head contests, exclusive VIP experiences, and the most flexible lineup structures in the game. Fantasy Draft is the only DFS site that puts players first. They're also the only site to offer 6 of 7 PGA scoring, dropping your lowest golfer's score. Register today with the code FNTSY for a free $4 entry into a guaranteed winner contest in the sport of your choice. Fantasy Draft, daily fantasy on a level playing field.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, yeah. Bop.
I don't know that this is going to help your voice, Greg.
Come on.
Sounds like he's killing a dolphin.
Hold on. How does nobody sing Umbop when it's on? Is it impossible not to?
Honestly, I didn't know up until the chorus that's what song it was. Like I knew the song, but I didn't know what song it was until you sang the chorus.
Say what you would about Hanson.
It's a classic pop song. I'm not going to deny it.
Anytime Hanson's Umbop plays, you sing. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Hey, Greg, it's Chris downstairs. That's Carton's all-time favorite song. Tomorrow morning, you two have to do a duet. He won't leave you hanging like Frank just.
So I will be happy to sing with Carton if I have my voice tomorrow. I'm totally always down to sing Umbop. I think it's awesome.
Looking forward to it.
Thank you.
Frank isn't.
Probably not. Umbop, she can show now, do. Yeah. What's up, Nick?
I said I'm really glad I stuck around for another segment.
I'm happy you stuck around too. We're so lucky. All right, Didi Gregorius umbopping yesterday, ding, to the tune of 6 RBIs via the home run and another 2 on a bloop single that fell in. 8 RBIs on the day total, the most RBIs for a shortstop in New York Yankees history, the most for any player on their team's home opening day.
Better than Jeter.
Better than Jeter. The Yankees obviously get the job done yesterday, and Gregorius, he was a divisive figure, Jake and Frank, during draft season. We had a lot of drafts and mock drafts together, Frank. Then I said, let's draft Didi. And I always compared Didi and Xander Bogaerts, who I thought went around the same spot. And what ended up happening every time, because I did every draft I had with Frank, we always went like a different direction. We wound up not drafting a shortstop in that spot. And the reason was because Frank likes speed out of the shortstop position. Didi doesn't give you any of that. We didn't think the hard hit rate was sustainable. And ultimately, we wound up with a crappy shortstop everywhere. Do you regret that decision, Frank?
Yeah, I do. Specifically in the Gotham Diamond District, after you left, Didi Gregorius ended up going for $9. And that was the one that I texted you, and immediately I put my head down in my hands. It was me and Mike together, and I regretted it immediately because I said, if we could have got this guy for 10, even if it went up to $12, I mean, the fact that he plays in Yankee Stadium, what he did last year, he had 25 home runs. He played 136 games. He missed the first month of the season because of an injury he suffered at the WBC. The 2 years before that, he had played 153 or more games in both of those seasons. He continues to evolve as a hitter. Say what you want about him. I mean, the fact that his hard hit rate is abysmal every single year, 23%, 24%. The year before that, 22%. He does not hit the ball hard at all. But if you watch him hit, his swing is perfect for Yankee Stadium. He hits these lazy fly balls that go out by 3, 4, 5 rows in Yankee Stadium. His swing is just perfectly built for Yankee Stadium. If he hits 280 plus this year with 30 home runs and goes 85 again this year, we have to start to talk about him as one of the elite shortstops in the game. We have to start to move him up, in fantasy rankings. I think last year was one that we need to see him do it again. That's why I think a lot of people weren't on him. But, I actually think he was going a couple of rounds after Xander Bogaerts. Bogaerts was going in that range with Gene Segura. So, it was like that 5th, 6th round range. Didi was going more in like that Trevor Story range. So, look, if he can keep this up again another year, I truly think that he can hit 30 home runs with, 85 in that Yankees lineup.
I completely agree. And Jake, do you have Didi anywhere?
Yeah, if you don't recall, I took him in the one draft. You asked him why I took him in front of Xander Bogaerts. We had that discussion.
Oh, you're right. Because you're right. We did have that discussion. And I remember I asked you about him because I believed, listen, that's where he should go. Like one of those two guys. And I thought they deserved to go back-to-back, which is I guess what was in my head when I asked you that question, Frank.
Yeah, so then that's where I was, and that's where I took him. I was a little bit different. I was divisive on him last year. Like I was wrong about him. I wasn't buying into the power from the year before where he hit 20 home runs. So I was a little bit more concerned. Last year was wrong, and I was in on him this year. As you said, I was taking him in front of Xander Bogaerts. Also, this is somebody myself who has Xander Bogaerts and had Xander Bogaerts a lot higher than most people did because I continually said he was hurt last year. I've even made jokes about it on Twitter. Chris Towers was doing the same thing. We were kind of going back and forth joking about it. It's like everybody's like, oh, look at what Bogaerts is doing so far this year. Bogaerts looks great again. Oh, maybe health had something to do with it last year. So the fact is it wasn't so much that it was just like I like Didi more than Bogaerts. It's the fact I like both of them. I just also believe, as what Frank was just saying about Bogaerts, if you're going to get 25 plus from your shortstop with 80 plus, those I don't really need the steals. I know that Bogaerts, if you want to go that route, but now you're going to drop off and lose 5 to 7 home runs, and you're going to get the steals that make up where he's going to get 15 to 20 steals. That's understandable. And as you said, they should be going back to back, but I think both of them deserve to be higher where I had them.
I look at Didi Gregorius, and I said some of the questions, right? His hard hit rate, where he is in the lineup, can he do it again? And I think, listen, we should maybe at certain times, Frank, take things just at face value. He's playing an amazing lineup. As one of the few lefties in that lineup, he was probably to be pushed up the lineup. Not that we thought that Gregg would get hurt, obviously, but he would get pushed up. He ended last year batting cleanup, and he's playing in a stadium that simply suits him perfectly. And at some point, not that I want to throw out advanced metrics because I don't think you should do that, but at some point, I think we have to accept it for what it is. And Didi Gregorius, as Jake said, last year you had question marks going for him, and I think that's fine. He proved you wrong. This year we shouldn't have had the same question marks when he already proved us wrong once.
Yeah, and it's really just one advanced metric that everyone looks at, and it kind of find it baffling is his hard hit rate, is that he doesn't hit the ball that hard, but if you look at since he's joined the Yankees, he's improved his fly ball rate every single year and has improved his pull percentage every single year as well. So you couple those two things together, he's pulling the ball 40% of the time and putting it in the air 43.8% of the time last year. That's already up over 50% this year. So if he continues to pull the ball and put it in the air, it's going to continue to lead to home runs as long, in Yankee Stadium. So, just looking at 25 home runs over 136 games, that pace tells you that he should be able to hit 30 home runs from the shortstop position. I think it's just every single year he continues to get better. He doesn't strike out a lot, makes a lot of contact, 12% strikeout rate. So, all those things wrapped together, if he continues to hit cleanup, they mentioned it yesterday. He joked with Aaron Boone once Aaron Boone became the manager. He said, "Oh, look, I guess I'm not going to be hitting cleanup again once they got Giancarlo Stanton." But as long as he's in the middle of that lineup, he's going to drive in runs, hit the ball in the air, pull the ball. It's going to lead to home runs. So, I'm kicking myself that I didn't
gets hurt.
I'm sorry.
What's up?
I said he'll be cleanup if Sanchez gets hurt again.
Yeah,
I mean he's going to do it against right-handed batters.
Yeah.
I think Sanchez is batting cleanup today because they're facing Blake Snell.
Correct. So I think against righties, you'll see Didi at the cleanup spot. I think ultimately, I regret not going after Didi harder, not pushing for him harder in leagues that you, Mike, and I split.
He came up during the GSC draft too.
Yeah, and we sat there, and I know you and I really wanted him, and because we had gotten who we wanted the round previously, we let him go, and he almost made it back to us. He's a couple picks. That was one spot where Floyd was like, "All right, if he makes it back, I'll do it," and he wound up going 3 or 4 or 5 picks before our turn. So it wasn't like we got sniped.
He actually went to Chris Vaccaro. I remember that.
Oh, right. So that's 6 spot-ish, right?
Yeah, I think he was 4 or 5, and we were 1. So
he was 5.
It was
that's
coming,
6. So I think he's
coming
a 5
back
spot.
Down the snake.
100%.
Yeah. That's always a great feeling, too, when you're debating taking a player on the swing, and then if that guy gets all the way back to you after 30 picks, that's a
Amazing.
great feeling. And we almost had it.
So
That happened a few times.
So that's how I felt in my draft last week, I guess it was last week, about Patrick Corbin. I was deciding between Patrick Corbin and Blake Snell, who I have back-to-back. I picked Blake Snell. 24 picks later, there was Patrick Corbin. One guy that, because that was kind of the order I did things in and how my draft worked out, the one guy I couldn't get was Patrick Corbin's teammate, and that was Zach Godley. I picked Luis Castillo earlier, and then I had the choice, I told Frank this, of Kyle Hendricks and Zach Godley. And I went with the guy I thought was safer in Hendricks, even though Frankie said Godley. Frank, Godley's been your guy all spring long. Got his first start yesterday against Clayton Kershaw. Pitched pretty damn well.
Yeah, he pitched pretty well. I mean, it wasn't a flawless start. You know, I joked about it earlier in the show. I said, you know, Kershaw going up against a Godley pitcher, and, you know, it is what it is. But 7 swinging strikes out of 98 pitches. That's a 7.1% swinging strike rate. 58 strikes, 38 balls. Not a great strike-to-ball ratio there. I mean, I watched his entire start last night. The only redeeming quality that I saw that came out of it is that he generated 11 ground ball outs. You watch him pitch, I mean, it's kind of a funky delivery. He falls off to the first base side, fell behind in a lot of counts, but really just everything that he throws has movement. He throws a cutter, he throws a curveball a lot, he throws a sinking fastball. So that's why he's able to generate all these ground balls, but only had 3 strikeouts, only got those 7 swings and misses over the course of 7 innings. So it was a very, very good start. But he actually, you know, he got helped out by some defense as well. I think the humidor actually helped him. I mean, there were a few balls off the bat yesterday from Yasiel Puig and Chris Taylor that I thought were going out, and they got caught on the warning track. So, you know, I haven't watched a ton of Diamondbacks games so far, but, you know, I think we are seeing some effects of that humidor already early on.
So I'm really glad you brought up the humidor, because I wanted to ask you about that, Jake. We're basically one turn through the rotation here. I believe 5 guys have started now for Arizona. We've gotten at least some idea of how it's going to play out there in Arizona. Has the humidor had any noticeable effect to you?
No, as I was going to say, I don't think we have any idea how it's playing yet, because we don't know, one, if they're tinkering with it, and 2, we've seen the home runs at the beginning. We're still going out like crazy, and then we've seen the reverse over the last. What if they tinkered with it for the past few days, and they saw it the first day, like, oh my God, the home runs are still going out. I don't think we have any type. I wouldn't say you can even put any weight into what the humidor is doing until the end of the month.
Okay, I think it's fair.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, in terms of sample size, he's absolutely right. I'm just saying what I saw last night. The way that the ball came off the bat and the way that it sounded, Puig and Chris Taylor, they squared up a few pitches of Zach Godley, and it seemed like it just died on the warning track out there.
See, to that point, I would say what was more telling, what I saw yesterday, was Matt Harvey. And if it wasn't for the rain and if it wasn't for the cold weather, Matt Harvey got lucky yesterday.
Well, I wanted to bring up Matt Harvey, so I'm glad you did. Harvey pitches for the Mets, his first start, and people, from what I was reading here, Frankie, thought it was a pretty effective start. They liked a lot of what they saw out of Matt Harvey. He wasn't throwing the gas that he was in his prime, but, you know, pitched pretty well. Jake says he's got lucky. What say you?
Yeah, I mean, I would agree. On the surface, it looks like a pretty good start. I mean, 5 shutout innings, 1 hit, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts. Another guy just had 9 swinging strikes yesterday among 86 pitches, 10.4% swinging strike rate. That's exactly league average from last season for starting pitchers. Used his fastball 64% of the time in yesterday's start, but it was at just 91.6 miles per hour, like you mentioned, Greg. So, you know, a lot of starting pitchers, they have to build up that velocity, but especially him. He's a guy that you have to pay attention to, because last year, again, coming off the thoracic outlet surgery, you know, the velocity wasn't necessarily there, and we know he had a bunch of mechanics.
It was higher.
Well, I mean, not where it was like when he was.
No, but what I'm saying is his first start out last year, which was almost similar weather, he was actually sitting 93.
Yeah, so yesterday, I mean, he's around 91, 92. So, I mean, you know, that's not great in his first start. So, look, I think he needs to needs to throw strikes. I'll take that part away from it, that he only had 1 walk. I know that the walks were a huge issue for him last year, and repeating his mechanics and his delivery. So on the surface, it looks like a good start because it was 5 shutout innings. But I do agree with Jake. I think he got lucky on some of those hits, and the fact that it was cold weather in that game.
If that game's played a month from now in Citi Field, hell, if it's played a month from now in Atlanta or Philadelphia or anywhere else, he gave up at least 1 home run and a couple runs on the board.
Okay. So not buying that Harvey's outing yesterday.
Not after that one start. For you want to talk about overreaction Wednesday for like the overreaction month? Like overreaction Wednesday is the people that are excited about his start yesterday.
What people are also excited about from yesterday's Met game was Seth Lugo. Now, Seth Lugo pitched 2 innings out of the bullpen and looked completely like fire. I know Matt Modica was tweeting about it. And I asked him, do you believe Seth Lugo could be the Mets version of Chad Green this year? Which there's fantasy value because he's so dominant out of the pen. Modica believed that Lugo was one of the best 5 starters and should get a chance to start. What do you think, Jake?
No, Lugo needs to be where he is. This is where he's going to be effective and stay in the bullpen. And he's probably going to carve out a nice little role here. I know everybody keeps throwing it like Andrew Miller's like the guy to throw out now, like the name of the past couple of years. But he's even a little bit more than that. He's 2-3 innings. You want to pull this 5 inning, like every time Harvey's out there, or maybe once you get down deeper into the rotation, Matz. Now, if Matz continues to struggle, maybe he supplants Matz, and he would be the favorite over Wheeler and Gazelman at this point. But I think this is a perfect spot for him where he can be the one to come in when Harvey and Matz only go 4 or 5 innings, and he can get those 2 to 3 for you. I think this is where he can kind of not go all out like a closer, but he can go for his best effort for 2 or 3 innings, and then you get what you get yesterday. I'm not looking for him in fantasy leagues.
Can Seth Lugo be the Mets version of Chad Green, Frank?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, everyone's trying to find that Chad Green, that Andrew Miller, like Jake mentioned. I think what Jake said makes a lot of sense. I mean, Matt Harvey, they're not going to push him very much early on. If he goes, 4 or 5 innings, and Steven Matz, we know they both have the injury history as well. So I think that makes sense if you want to use him in that role. His velocity was up yesterday too, so another guy who has never had great velocity. Fastball usually around 91, 92 miles per hour. But yesterday he averaged 93.6 miles per hour on his fastball. We know that he's always had a great spin rate. It's always referenced for his curveball. So, you put him in the bullpen, increase that velocity. He can kind of make up those innings that some of those starting pitchers don't go. I think it makes sense for them.
Okay, so there you go. That's the deal. Matt Harvey, Seth Lugo, and the Mets. Jason Vargas still on the DL for them. So another starter coming back.
He's a guy I would pay attention to in NL-only leagues. Not Vargas, Seth Lugo. Because if something were to happen to Steven Matz or Matt Harvey, maybe he gets a chance to go into the rotation. Even if not, if he's going like 1-2 innings per relief appearance, and he's racking up the
3
strikeouts.
times a week,
It makes sense, especially in NL-only league.
Sure. Also remember they got Vargas, they have Zach Wheeler in AAA, so there are some options there for the Mets.
Yeah.
All right. Other shortstops. We wanted to quickly get to Almeida Diaz, who got hurt last night, but he's played pretty well for Toronto in place of Troy Tulowitzki here, Frankie.
Yeah, he has, and we know a couple of years ago what he did with the Cardinals, and then came out and completely flopped last year. In 2016, had the 17 home runs, hit 300, makes a lot of contact, doesn't walk all that much. But so far in the year, he had the home runs last night, he hit 2 home runs, and he has the .313 batting average so far this year. He's crushing the ball. Like he's only had 16 plate appearances, but he's made hard contact in those 61% of those plate appearances. So look, the Blue Jays lineup, it isn't what it was a couple of years ago, but it's still a very good hitting environment, and they're still going to get guys on base. So I think in deeper leagues, in these mixed leagues where we're constantly trying to find some middle infielders or something, if you're dealing with injuries, he's a guy that I would pay attention to. You were getting him for basically nothing. Sure. I would imagine he probably wasn't even drafted in a lot of leagues. He's just a guy I would keep my eye on for now. Maybe towards the end of the week, if he keeps this up, you put a small bid on him.
I was screaming about Yangervis Solarte. It looks like Diaz is potentially the middle infielder to own there in Toronto, Jake.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to be the one that gets the most playing time, and he performed with the Cardinals back in the past, so why not? Peace.
I guess that's Jake saying he's leaving us.
See you, Jake.
Yeah. All right, well, thanks for hanging, Jake. Frank and I will be back for 20 more minutes here on the BFFs. Al Melchior and the Fantasy Baseball Hour comes up next. Stick around. More fantastic baseball conversation comes your way right after this.
Muscle Maker Grill was made for baseball season. Muscle Maker Grill supplies you with delicious, healthy meals that will give you energy to cheer on your team week after week. Whether you're craving flavorful salad, packed wraps, or giltless entrees, Muscle Maker Grill has you covered. Hosting a game? No problem. Our catering packages will have your whole team satisfied with flavors ranging from Italian to Tex-Mex and much, much more. Visit MuscleMakerGrill.com for your nearest location and have a winning season.
Attention all authors. Page Publishing is looking for authors. Have you written a book and want to get it published? Page Publishing will get your book into bookstores and for sale online at Amazon, Apple iTunes, and other outlets. They handle all aspects of the publishing process for you. Printing, cover art, publicity, copyright, and editing. Call 800-292-8137 now for your free author submission kit. That's 800-292-8137 for your free author submission kit. Again, that's 800-292-8137.
Fantasy Baseball Hour with Al Melchior.
The big story is Nelson Cruz being placed on the 10-day disabled list with a sprained right ankle, slipping on the steps of the clubhouse.
There's no excuse for Vogelback not to get the at-bats. The guy's always been known for his bat. At least to give this kid a chance, get him a few games in. He's got the confidence now. It would be nice to see. They could use another bat this lineup.
Listen live on the Fantasy Sports Radio Network and on popular podcast providers.
Skix sneakers are taking over tailgates and alumni homes across America. Skix canvas high top, low top, slip-on, and kids tennis style sneakers designed in officially licensed college colors and logos is a must-have for every college fan's wardrobe. Fun, fashionable, and comfortable. Whether you're at the big game or watching the game at home, Skix helps fans perform better. Go to Skix.com and use promo code FNTSY for 15% off your pair now. That's Skix.com. Skix sneakers, the soul of a true fan.
Back with you on the BFFs, Fantasy Sports Radio Network. Frank Stampfl, Gregg Sussman. You can see Jake was very interested in our conversation, so he left.
You're not going to sing this one? You don't have the moves like Jagger?
You know, they sing this all the time on Carton and Friends.
That's true. I've heard it a few times.
Yeah, so I don't really feel the need to.
All right.
What I am going to do...
You're more of a 90s guy anyway. Bop, whatever.
I gotta lower the air. I'm dying in here, so I'm going to do that.
All right, so while Gregg Sussman is lowering the air conditioner, I'm going to preview what we're going to talk about next, which is Dansby Swanson, who so far has got off to a pretty interesting start for the Atlanta Braves. I looked more into his numbers. He's batting 7 for 22. He's not in the lineup today, so it doesn't matter going into today because he's not in the lineup. So 7 for 22, 318 batting average, 3 runs scored, 3 RBIs, had a stolen base last night. Not everything is not great so far, though. With Dansby Swanson, I dug a little bit deeper. He's swinging and missing 13% of the time. He's chasing pitches outside of the strike zone more than league average. He doesn't have a single walk yet. What I do like is that he has a 41% line drive rate to this point, Greggy. So he's making better contact, but still doesn't have great plate discipline. He's swinging and missing a lot. He's chasing pitches outside the strike zone, doesn't have a walk. It seems like he's coming in with a more aggressive approach this season. So he's not just waiting for things to happen. He's going out there and trying to make things happen on his own. And so far, the results have been pretty good. He doesn't have a home run. He's not hitting for extra bases all that much. But so far, 7 for 22, 318 batting average. If you manage to draft him in a 15-team league like we did, he's kind of just on our bench. We know he has the prospect pedigree. Was looked at more for, I think, his glove more so than his offensive ability. But I think so far at this point of the season, I'm pretty pleased with what we've got out of Dansby Swanson, Gregg.
Listen, the BABIP over the first, 4 or 5 games is like 412.
Yeah.
So getting a little bit lucky.
But 41% line drives, like that's obviously going to regulate. Like,
of course.
A normal line drive rate, we're looking at like 15 to 18%. But if he ups that to 20, the low 20 percentage of line drives this year, then maybe he can increase that BABIP, which will ultimately increase his batting average.
As you said, not exactly much extra base power here from Dansby Swanson. There's no home runs or anything yet, but I think it's almost good for his confidence that he's just being able to get on
off
base.
To a good start.
Last year, he struggled so mightily in April and May that his confidence was shot. Maybe because he's the former #1 overall pick, and there's a lot expected of him and his new team, and he was traded for Shelby Miller and this whole deal, and he did not live up to the expectations. Now, without any of those expectations, he's getting on base. He's finding different ways to do it. And he's getting a little bit lucky, yes. But he got a lot unlucky last year at times. So it doesn't surprise me that he's able to find his way on base now. And I think being so successful early on will only help him the rest of the way. I was happy to take a shot on him as a middle infielder / bench player in our mixed league, 15 teams. And, see what we have. That's all.
Yeah, I mean, I think he can be like a 10 to 12 home run, 10 to 12 stolen base kind of guy. I don't really know what to expect out of the batting average because it's been a mixed bag to this point. In 2016, it was only 38 games, but he hit 302. And then last year, obviously, struggled, like you mentioned, 144 games. He only hit 232, but that BABIP was all the way down at 292, despite him hitting line drives 23% of the time, Gregg. So I expect the BABIP to be better this year, improve the batting average. I'm never going to expect like a 300 batting average out of this guy, but if he hits 260 to 270 in a pretty good Braves lineup once we get Ronald Acuna up here, this is going to be a very, very fun Braves team. So I'm excited. I'm holding on to him for now. I want to see if he's able to build on this and kind of continue to get better here.
Yankees are quickly down 1-0 here as the game has started between the Yankees and Tampa. C.J. Cron with the RBI double.
Oh, well, that kind of helps because we have him in GSC. That's so weird, right? Is that weird? Do you ever find yourself rooting for another team against the Yankees? Like, I don't want that to happen, but if it happens, it's like the redeeming quality is that at least he's on our fantasy team, you know? Like, I don't want the Yankees to lose.
So I do for sure, especially like when you're playing head-to-head and like everything's on the line for like one game.
And I know
Sunday.
that too because I play head-to-head points.
And he played basketball too, right? Like,
I mean, the Knicks are a train wreck anyway.
So for me, it's like I always rationalize it like they play 162 games. Like
you try and make yourself feel better about it.
I'll do it today. I have Blake Snell. Like, I'll take 7 shutout innings.
Oh, stop that! I mean, I don't know.
Well, whatever. I'll take 7 shutout innings. Give me the quality start I didn't get with Fulte, and then
you get a quality start, 6 innings and 3 runs, Gregg.
I need the ERA to be low. So give me 7 shutout innings, and then let him go bonanza in the 8th.
The way that I
won't even take the win.
The way that I like to rationalize it is that I hope that the pitcher on the other side performs as well. Like, I hope him and Luis Severino both go like 7 innings of 1-run ball,
perfect.
And then the Yankees win it in like the 8th.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Give me the quality start and let him go bonanza in the 8th. I don't even care about the win. I just want a good start.
Do you think Mike has paused everything he's doing in Amsterdam to watch Blake Snell pitch right now?
So it's currently 8:47. I will say no.
I don't know, man.
Also, the Mets.
I don't know. When it comes to Blake Snell, that guy's a different beast.
Also, the Mets are on Facebook right now. He's probably watching that.
Did they actually start?
Yeah.
They eventually started?
They're going to start shortly. They have not started yet.
Okay.
I can say.
Right.
Also, Mike's probably headed to London soon if he's not there already.
All right, yeah, because he was doing a couple of days in Amsterdam, a couple of days in London, right?
So I don't know if it's today he goes to London or tomorrow.
And he doesn't come back till Sunday.
Right before WrestleMania.
Right before WrestleMania.
Speaking of WrestleMania, announcement.
Okay.
Friday on this program, it's a WrestleMania special.
Yeah, the return of Sussmania. I heard you on FST said you kind of killed the gimmicky part.
Yeah.
But come on, Gregg. It's WrestleMania season. Are we going to get a little Sussmania action?
Well, I think it's...
Should we lower the lights and just play the music and have you walk in with the title belt?
That'd be cool. I might do that.
Yeah. We're going to have to get some production value.
Nah, I don't
go in here.
I don't think we can make that happen.
We'll make it happen.
A little understaffed.
We'll figure it out.
All right, we'll figure it out. Yeah, so anyway, not only will we have the return of our wrestling conversation, Johnny Stampfl is going to join the program.
Yeah, my brother, Johnny Stampfl.
Should we reach out to EY? See if EY wants to come on?
He probably won't. He'll probably be traveling, right? Because he's performing Saturday.
He's definitely there in New Orleans.
So he's there already. I mean, yeah. I mean, why not?
He's probably busy. He's probably like signing autographs and stuff.
Does it hurt to ask? Maybe.
He's not on the card for TakeOver, which is weird.
Really?
Yeah.
Sanity's not doing anything? Are they going to interfere in something?
Spoiler alert, since it's not announced yet, I don't think. But he's not. I don't think.
All right.
Hey, maybe they'll show up at Mania. Maybe they'll be in the Battle Royal.
The arm bar.
Killian Dane is wrestling. EY's not.
All right. I mean, he's there to like mentor them and kind of help them get better.
So
now, obviously, we want EY to succeed, no doubt about it. But he's there to help those guys as well.
So anyway, tomorrow's the last baseball show of the week. WrestleMania preview. Johnny Stampfl, Frankie Stampfl, and myself, Gregg Sussman. That comes your way Friday.
Woo!
All right. We're going to get some pictures that you can pick up for tomorrow if you're in a daily transaction league. We're going to do that in a moment. Before we do, one last pitching performance from yesterday I do want to mention, and that was Jack Flaherty. When he was named the 5th starter with Adam Wainwright's injury, I liked him a lot. But with the but part being, Waino could be back like in a week.
Like in all caps. Like but. Like no, like he could be back tomorrow.
Totally.
Like he could be back.
Yes. He could be back in a week. And as good as Flaherty was, and I liked him, I thought he was the obvious man out of this rotation if and when Waino came back. As good as he was yesterday, I still feel the same way.
That probably is the case, unfortunately, because you look at their rotation. They have Carlos Martinez, they have Michael Wacha, they have Luke Weaver, they have Miles. Did you guys figure it out if it was Michaelos?
I forgot. I'm still calling Mikolas, but it's not.
All right, whatever. Miles Mikolas is going to be in the rotation. We know that they brought him over from Japan, so they're going to give him every opportunity to succeed in the starting rotation. He was okay in his first start. He wasn't great, but he did hit a home run, which ultimately propelled the Cardinals to victory. And then there's Adam Wainwright. Like, Wainwright is going to be in the rotation. He's the veteran of this staff. He's been there forever. I mean, he's not really statistically great anymore, but I think the fact that he's been there forever, he kind of is the leader of this rotation. So if someone's going to get the boot, it's probably going to be Jack Flaherty, which sucks because based on what he did yesterday, he had 15 swinging strikes, Greg, out of 91 pitches, 16.5% swinging strike rate.
Frank also tweeted that out, by the way.
Yeah, he has a very diverse pitching arsenal. I mean, he throws 4 different pitches at least 15% of the time. He's a four-seam, a sinker, a slider, and a curve. It's that slider. If you watched it from yesterday, it reminds me of a lot of Jose Berrios' slurve. Berrios! His slurve pitch, which kind of just has like a sweeping action across the zone, which breaks away from right-handed batters and down and in on left-handed batters. It's a nasty pitch, and last year he was an absolute beast in the minor leagues. 25 starts between AA and AAA. He owned a 2.18 ERA with 147 strikeouts in 148 2/3 inning pitch, a 1.04 WHIP. Greg, Jack Flaherty was a beast last year in the minor leagues. It just seems like once he comes back, I don't know that there's a spot in the rotation for Jack Flaherty. I will say this, I'm not dropping him. If I'm in deeper leagues and I have an opportunity to hold on to this kid, based on what I saw yesterday, 9 strikeouts and 5 innings pitched, I'm trying to hold on to him if I can.
Yeah, so I get it. Especially if you have an NA spot, if he goes back down, I agree. What you saw after at least one day, pretty damn impressive, like I said.
Yeah, I agree.
All right.
I guess it's a good lineup, too, in the Brewers.
It's a really good lineup. Let's get into some of the pitchers pitching tomorrow. So, tomorrow in my league, that could be look at my league, because I think it's a good representation of a standard 12-team league where guys could be available for you. So, pitching tomorrow, you let me know, Frank, if you're interested in any of these players, and then expand, of course. Steven Brault at home against Cincinnati.
Keep going.
Kyle Gibson, home against Seattle.
Maybe.
Okay.
We'll put him in the maybe department.
Put him in the maybe department, right? Caleb Smith.
He's also in the maybe department.
In Philly. James Shields at home against Detroit. Jordan Zimmerman in Chicago. Homer Bailey in Pittsburgh.
Womp womp.
Ooh, okay. Joey Lucchesi against Colorado.
Next.
Andrew Kashner against the Yankees.
Next.
Daniel Megden, home against Texas. He's going to fall for the Oakland A.
No.
No?
No, not doing it.
Tyler Anderson in San Diego.
Put him in the maybe.
Okay. He didn't pitch so great his first start.
No, he did not. He pitched very not good, actually.
And then, for me, the final guy I have here on my list is in Oakland, Martin Perez making his debut this year.
A big whopping no for Martin Perez.
So the only people you're considering are Kyle Gibson and Caleb Smith, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, look,
out of those guys.
Kyle Gibson was a hype guy in the spring. Once again, I feel like there's been hype around this guy forever now. We know he pitched 6 no-hit innings in his first start, but did have I believe it was 5 or 6 walks in that game, but racked up some strikeouts. He's always had some upside, hasn't been able to put it together, but if you get a Mariners team without Nelson Cruz in the lineup, I think that makes it a little bit more enticing. And then Caleb Smith, I was looking at both guys in that game. Caleb Smith against Nick Pivetta, that's the Marlins, against the Phillies. Both lineups have not been good so far. They're towards the bottom of the league in terms of OPS for collective team OPS so far. The Phillies are 26th in MLB with a 594 team OPS, while the Marlins have a 635 team OPS. So I'm not expecting a lot of runs to be scored on either side of that game. Caleb Smith was pretty good in his first start as well. Former Yankee farmhand Caleb Smith.
I believe the last time I brought him up, Frank named him former Yankee great Caleb Smith.
Yeah. I mean, it always comes back to the Yankees. You know that, Greg.
Yeah,
so
in this program.
The guys that I would consider mostly there, if you need starts, I don't know if you do, but for those listening, if you play in a 12 or 14-team league, this is really just in Yahoo because it's daily transactions. You could pick these guys up and put them in your lineup right away.
Update.
Yes, Greg?
Giancarlo Stanton did not strike out in his first at-bat.
Did he hit a Stoparle, whatever John Stilling says?
Yes.
Yeah!
Yes, he did. 2-run shot, bringing in Brett Gardner, 2-1 Yanks.
That's a good way to rebound after, the platinum sombrero yesterday, obviously getting boos at the stadium.
He probably got a standing ovation.
Yeah, a Stanton ovation.
Bam. Bam.
Let's do the old pat myself on the back for that.
Oh yeah, that was great. Yeah, Stanton goes boom.
I'm very interested. The first thing I'm going to do after the show ends is look up John Sterling's call because I don't know if it got better.
Probably not.
Stanton hasn't hit a home run since opening day. If you listen to the 2 Sterling calls from that game,
yes,
from the first home run to the second home run, the phrase changed.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you had all spring training to figure out what you wanted to say for Giancarlo Stanton. In fact, you had, since he got traded to the Yankees, to figure out what you wanted your home run call to be for Giancarlo Stanton. We know that John Sterling goes out of his way to make up these wacky calls for home runs hit by New York Yankees. You had all offseason to figure out a Giancarlo Stanton call. You messed it up in the first game. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't expect anything less, anything more from John Sterling. It is what it is. I think I was watching the Dan Patrick show. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Does he have a show?
Yeah.
I believe he went on, and John Sterling went on and said that it was an Italian phrase. So he had this plan for a while, and he messed it up on the first day.
Of course, the problem is Giancarlo Stanton not Italian.
No, he's not. No. I mean, you might have thought so because there's a fly around here and it's killing me.
Okay.
You might have thought so with the Giancarlo name, but he is not Italian. Do we know what he is? He's got to be some kind of mix, I'd imagine. I think he might be like a Latino African-American mix or a Caucasian
African-American and Irish.
There you go.
His maternal great-grandmother, that's very far back now.
Yeah.
Puerto Rican, but that's very, very far back.
All right. So he's a little bit of everything.
But like maternal
He's a melting
great-grandmother.
pot.
Like my maternal great-grandmother, I guess is Hungarian? But like, would you ever consider me Hungarian? No.
I honestly had... I think it was recently that I asked you, like,
You did.
what's your background, Greg? Because I know you're not just Jewish.
Correct. It's not a thing.
And when you told me, I was like, I still don't believe you. I'm just gonna say you're Jewish.
Yeah.
Like from Jerusalem Jewish.
Yeah. So Puerto Rico tried to figure out if they can get him to play in the WBC.
Yep.
And it was like too far off. Great grandmother maternal side.
Like, come
Not
on now.
close enough.
I mean, people, they stretch for the WBC anyway, as it is. I mean, Manny Machado, come on now. And not only that, it's like they do the same thing in the World Cup, like these guys that are born in one country and they've lived in one country for a year, or they've had like a grandparent born in Norwegia. So I'm gonna,
If you're Jewish, you can play for Team Israel. That's how it works.
Norwegia, Norway. What an idiot.
Yes.
I just said Norwegia.
Yeah, big time.
I'm surprised you didn't call me out for that. I called myself out.
Well, you tried to tell me not to call you out anymore, so I tried to stop.
You know, last year I tried to figure out what Aaron Judge is. Obviously, it's going to be much more difficult. Yes, I did.
There it is, Nando. Appreciate that.
Yep, yeah. But I corrected myself, so.
By the way,
count.
according to Jimmy Traynor on Twitter, Sterling kept the Italian phrase.
Oh, man.
Yes.
That's going to end up being a butcher's job, so I got to hear that.
Off StatCast, 117.9 miles per hour.
Do we know if it was opposite field?
458 I have.
Wow. That's a long way.
I don't know. That doesn't.
Blakey.
458. You know, Didi's was only like 380.
Yes, it was right down the line.
But like, this is 70 feet farther.
74 foot difference.
Oh, my God. I gotta see a video of this. Amazing. Anything else, Frankie?
No. I spoke about Caleb Smith a little bit. I spoke about.
Now I'll understand.
You're not going to pick up Caleb Smith or.
He's not even out of the inning yet.
Or Kyle Gibson as one of your starting pitchers, are you?
All right.
You're not going to listen to me.
No.
In fact, you're going to ignore me.
I'm not going to. I'm looking up Stanton's home run now. I found it. Let's see this. Oh my God.
The Mariners have the ninth highest OPS.
Oh my God, he hit it so far.
I'm going to keep talking about Kyle Gibson and Caleb Smith.
Dude, I think he hit it out of the stadium. I'm not even kidding.
Which way did it go?
Left field.
Left field?
We're gonna sign off and watch the Yankee game now.
Yeah!
For Frankie Stampfl, my name is Gregg Sussman. I want to thank Jake Seeley for joining us. I want to thank Chris Cannon and Nando DeFino downstairs. WrestleMania preview on Friday. We'll be back tomorrow. Do some waiver stuff for you.
Yep.
And Florida will be back next week, so look forward to that. See you there. We'll see you tomorrow. Oh yeah. Good job, Bug Boy. Thanks, Chris. We'll see you tomorrow. We hope.
Does your fantasy team suck? Maybe you need us, the Fantasy Sports Radio Network, the only free 24/7 fantasy sports